My name is Christopher Kuma. I'm originally from Liverpool in England.
And my name is Nao Kusuzaki. I'm originally from Japan.
We both work for the Houston Ballet, and this is actually both of our 9th seasons here. We joined together. I was inspired to become a dancer through my family. I have 3 sisters who all danced, my brother who also started dancing, and I was, sad to say, I was afraid that I'd get invited to a dance at school and I'd never know how to dance with a girl, so that's how I actually started. And then through that, I fell in love with it, and yeah, it became my profession.
I was inspired to become a dancer when I was very little. I had always been dancing, as my mother has told me, and she put me in a ballet school at 3 years old, and since then I have always loved it. But my true inspiration came when my family moved to the States when I was 10 years old, and I was able to see how a professional company worked. I was living in Washington, D.C. at the time, and watching them dance Serenade was my inspiration. And also at the time I spoke no English, and dancing was my form of expression and communication. So this led to where I am today. This is always a hard question. My favorite roles to perform are usually the ones that I'm working on at the moment. So I always get invested in a particular role. For example, Swan Lake, Odette and Odile is something I have been nurturing and working on for a long time. So any role that I have been working on is my favorite. But I'd have to say Madame Butterfly, the role of Madame Butterfly is one of my very favorites because of its dramatic music and the choreography. It is choreographed by Stanton Welch, who is our artistic director. And the story personally connects to me because I am from Japan, and it feels very authentic performing that role, and there's something that I can share with the audience in its true essence. So Madame Butterfly, and also I have very much enjoyed dancing Nikia in La Bayadere. That is also my favorite role.
My favorite role I've ever performed is Lesko from Manon. He's such a goofball, which kind of fits with my personality very well. He just loves life, loves to have fun, and it's such a challenging role physically and mentally, I had so much fun performing it. I've also performed a lot of other great ballets with Christopher Bruce and Yuri Killian, but I'd have to say definitely that would be my favorite role.
What it means to perform the role of Odette and Odile. This is Swan Lake is an iconic piece. Everyone knows and is familiar with the ballet. When someone says ballet, they immediately think of Swan Lake. And for me as well, growing up, my first ballet that I had ever seen was Swan Lake. I was 7 years old in this small town where I grew up in Japan, and I was mesmerized. And since then, I had always wanted to grow up and dance Odette and Odile. So it has a special meaning because it is very quintessentially ballet, and it has every aspect of a movement, of a character, in technicality and in storytelling that makes it a complete role. So it is a very special ballet.
It means a lot to dance The Prince for me because literally as soon as I came to America, within that week, actually Houston Ballet was working on Swan Lake, and Carlos Acosta was working with the company then, and it was just such a big big thing for me, not only being 16 years old, moving halfway across the world without my family, but then to meet these famous people that I'd only ever seen in, on the TV, dancing these roles. And it's just, to me, the Prince in Swan Lake is such a manly, it's the perfect blend of like being a man and being a dancer. It's just a perfect blend, and it just, yeah, it's such an iconic role. It's such an iconic ballet, so it's a big thing.
The most challenging aspects for me is the Black Act, which happens in Act 3. Technically, it is very difficult. The 32 fuetes, which is the part that everyone recognizes and looks for, is very challenging because it comes at the very end of the act when you're most tired. So building up the stamina for it is very challenging. Also, the two personalities, Odette and Odile, are complete opposites. So developing and thinking about how to portray the Odette, who is very vulnerable and feminine and pure, and to portray Odile, who is confident and seductive, very sure of herself, and to be as genuine as possible and to project those characters on stage. That has been the challenge for me.
The most challenging part about doing The Prince for me is finding the perfect blend of telling the story and dancing it correctly, because you can't have one without the other, because if you're not dancing it well but they love the story, then they don't really enjoy it. And then again, if you dance it great and they don't connect with you, then once again they also don't come away enjoying the ballet. So for me, it's being able to put myself into the ballet while still dancing it correctly, because it's like we were saying, it's so iconic classically that you have to have clean technique and beautiful lines, but at the same time you have to get the story across to the audience, because at the end of the day that's what it's all about.
And it comes to how I prepare for these roles. I say because there are two roles in one ballet. There are two personalities, which we don't often get to do. And since I was little, I had an idea, an image of how I would want to portray Odette and Odile. Because this is the ballet that comes back over and over again, it is timeless. But each time I am involved in a production, the idea changes, it evolves, because we experience life, and the different stages in our lives bring different expressions and emotions in our lives too. So I take that experience that happens outside of ballet, incorporated, so that the story becomes more authentic and more genuine. And also, being here in Oklahoma City for a week has been a great experience, getting to know the company and to dance and connect with other characters has been essential.
I prepared for the ballet by, honestly, I try and put myself and my own experiences into what I'm working on. And that way, the audience, I find, can connect with more if you're human about it. But also trying to pick the brains of anybody that I know that's done this role, because it is such a big role that you don't want to mess it up. So talking to anybody who's ever done it before within Houston Ballet, a lot of the older, more experienced principals and friends of mine that can coach me and talk me through what's going on in each act, so that if I know what's happening and I can say it to myself, then it's a lot easier to act it out. So What I enjoy most about dancing this role is, once again, like I said, it's very challenging physically and also emotionally. And just that buzz once you finish, that you feel that self-accomplishment of doing a good job, I guess, or feeling like you've done a good job. We hope we did a good job. So yeah, just that, I don't know, the accomplishment of trying to get that blend of ballet and story, I guess.
What I enjoy most about performing these roles is that I have the opportunity to perform two very opposing personalities in one role. I feel that I can more naturally connect with the white act of the ballet, which is the Odette, and to have the chance to then in a next act have the Odile, who is a completely different character, very confident, and she knows exactly what is going on. It's as if she's playing a game, and she's in control of the situation, and it's ready to get the prince. So that is what I actually enjoy the most, is to play these and dance the black act of the ballet, which I often don't have the chance to do.
It's been absolutely amazing working with Oklahoma City Ballet. They are such an amazing company with such talented dancers, and not only in the studio but outside, they are such nice people. And I got to go see Thunder's game, which was absolutely amazing. It makes it so much easier for us coming in to a company to be able to act with somebody that you have a personal connection with and know as people. Because like we said, you know, the more human acting is, then the more the audience relate to it. So it's hard to pretend to be somebody's best friend when you've just met them 2 seconds ago. So but they are amazing people, really talented dancers, and I look forward to hopefully working with them again. So.
Yes, I agree. I'm very impressed with the company, the dancers, the whole organization actually. They have been so welcoming from the first day, and in rehearsals, dancers are so helpful and personable, as well as hardworking, and very talented group of people. And it's you don't find a whole group like this very often. So our stay has been very fulfilling.